and through your main to get to your natural. So like, what's the chance that a Terran is actually going to commit to something like that? It's more likely that he'll lose all of his units trying to do that than actually dealing damage to you. So this, usually before this, you're probably going to see a lot of Vikings, so you're going to start adding Stalkers, so you'll have less Templar than I do right now. The optimal Viking count is about 12. The optimal Stalker count is about 12. So I've gone one over. And the reason is that you want to be able to kill Vikings really quickly in a battle. So there, I'm maxed. It's like 1640, but you can max around 15 minutes. You play well. Obviously I wasn't playing well this game. What I'm going to do is, after this, I think I'm going to just run through the build once on my own. I'm just leaving the computer now. But I'm going to run through the build on my own and get like a really crisp execution of it just versus AI, so that, and then I'm going to, when I post this video on YouTube, because I'm going to be posting all my VODs on YouTube, all my guide VODs on YouTube. When I post this video on YouTube, I'm going to include a replay with it, and that'll have me executing it very crisply, because I know personally for me, I just have 2 Colossus in here, but I know personally for me, I've seen a lot of guides from pros and stuff, and they have actual games that they've played where they execute the build, and I don't really like that. I guess it's good because you can see how they respond to a scenario, but it's only a scenario, it's not every scenario. And then on top of that, usually in a scenario, like in a game, there are problems with macro, and there are problems with spending resources, because focus has to be diverted in other ways, right? Like you can see here, I was talking, I missed some pylons, I didn't macro very well. So I'm going to include you can just like look, if you're watching on YouTube, look in the description, there will be like detailed build order notes for this build. There will also be a replay of me executing the build very crisply. So this is PvT. I think this style is very strong. I'm still working out exactly how to hold SEV pulls, because you need Templar in time if you make a Colossus with this build. But yeah, I think it's very strong. You can also mod this build to be a 1 Colossus build. And the way to do that is just, instead of getting Thermal Lance and Blink, you're going to throw down on Templar Archives and get Charge. And so you can, and then what you do is you build no Stalkers, and you use all the gas that you would have used for Stalkers for Templar, and then you use all the minerals that were supposed to be Stalkers, and you build Zelts with that. And you build a Warp Prism directly after your first Colossus. And then you can send that Warp Prism across like I did. I rally the Robo like this, so that it doesn't get intercepted by them. Like if you rally like this, maybe they have a watchtower. If you rally like this, maybe they're trying to attack your third. So I really send it on this like crazy path that takes long but is really safe. I build pylons on this side of the map, Warp Prism on this side of the map. That way the Warp Prism can harass their third here if they actually do take that as their third, and it can also harass their main. And then these pylons are for harassing this third. And then if they take this third, you can use the Warp Prism to pull them up here, and then use these pylons to harass their natural. So I think that setup is really good. If you're playing against the same player multiple times, these pylons are not always going to be able to be there, like maybe here, maybe down here, like before their third goes up. So you're going to have to sort of change the position of those pylons, but I like, you build 2 pylons or hide this probe somewhere else, like build a pylon here, hide the probe here. It's less likely that they're going to find that probe and kill it off, so that then even if they kill your pylon, you can rebuild another pylon. And then this Warp Prism can hide in the space here, or in the space here, or way back here if they have Vikings. So that's how I like to harass in this matchup. Yeah, so I hope this guide was really helpful. I hope it improves your PvT. I also forgot to mention one thing, which is this observer here. You can, the instant you start taking your third, reposition that observer here. That is going to scout and see if they're trying to attack your third. Then you can put your main army right here so that it can defend all your bases with the shortest amount of walk time to every base. Like it's most likely that they attack your third, so it's good to have your army closer to your third than to your main. And if you have Templar or 2 Templar, your first 2 Templar for defense in your main, then it's like less likely that a drop there will be very effective, so it's okay if you have your army further away from your main as well. Also, I keep my Mothership Corps between my main and my natural, just because I want my army to be there least during the long game. So my Mothership Corps is just going to get EMP'd or like one hit by Vikings in a big battle. So I usually don't bring it with me until it gets like very late game, and like a Doom drop, just like a Photon Overcharge does nothing. So then maybe you bring your Mothership Corps with your army. So yeah, an observer, this is the ideal observer placement. You can have an observer here. I put an observer here later in the game, then watchtower, and then observer. And then later in the game, I move all my observers again, like at the very beginning of the game, observer in their base like that so that you see everything. Then it holds positions at their front, stays there for the rest of the game. I'm going to have this observer out here. That's my second observer, spotting for drops. And my third observer is going to be out here, spotting for what their army is doing when it comes to my front. Then I'm going to reposition. This one stays the same. This one stays the same. The one at my front moves over here to my third. Then I'm going to reposition again. I'm actually going to build 2 more observers or 1 more observer so that I can cover here and here. Sometimes you need to cover your main again on certain maps. But on this map you can just build 1 extra observer and put it there. And then that also covers the final drop path. Then I'm going to reposition 1 final time once I take my 4th base. I'm going to put an observer here. I'm going to put an observer here so that I can see if they're going to attack either of these bases. And then I can reposition my army accordingly. Then your army can sit about here, and then it's going to ideally be able to defend both of those. So that's observer positioning. If for some reason you have to like move the front observer to be here to see when they push out, or this observer gets sniped or something crazy happens, but you feel like, oh, I can't, like maybe your Colossus died too and you're like, I need to rebuild my Colossus, so I don't have gas to remake those observers to do that. You can take a probe from here and just go like, okay, like I need vision of all these different areas. So you build pylons, right? These probes are all going out, and then you can shift click back on the minerals and they'll go back. And these pylons here will then act as cheap observers, because like minerals are a lot better. It's a lot better to lose minerals than to lose gas if your observers have been sniped once. So you can use pylons as like temporary observers. You can also put a pylon here if you're scared that they're going to drop your natural early on in the game. So like observer here, 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 and then pylon there. And that's also nice. I usually, if I'm going to build 1 pylon and 3 observers for spotting, I put the pylon where my 3rd base is going to be. So like on Derelict Watcher, if you're on the bottom spawn, you put like observer over here, and then you have your natural, and then you put a pylon at your at the top of your 3rd to spot for drops. And the reason that that's good is just like if they don't find that pylon and kill it, later you're going to build your 3rd anyways, and then you'll have a pylon there. So a lot of times they scout it and they kill it, and you're like, it doesn't work out. But in the times that it does work out, you don't just have like a random pylon in some like this position, which is sort of awkward and like can't really be utilized for good harass. And I don't know, like drops are always going to come through here, so it's always going to die. Like it's much less likely that drops will come through here. So that's why I like to position the pylon like that, and that's how I position my observers. So thanks for watching the guide. I hope it was super informative and super helpful. It will be posted on YouTube in probably about a week, just before I go back to school. I hope you guys are enjoying my stream. You can check me out on Twitter. It's at deadzerg330, and you can also go into my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Sarah Deadzerg, so SERA Deadzerg. And yeah, I have all my VODs of my coachings, my guides, my own practice, things like ripping a build or a daily warm-up or something like that, I try and do as much commentary so it can be as informative as possible. Yeah, so I really hope you guys enjoy my stream, and I will be back in a couple minutes for some practice and coaching. So see you guys later.